blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gonna feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe it.
It's good to be back. What's going on, Rangers fans? My name is Jimmy Fanizzi, and this is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast presented by DraftKings. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats to chat with us on any and all topics at hand. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on all audio platforms, and be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. In case you are wondering where I have been quite inactive lately, and I do sincerely apologize. I actually was recovering from a really bad sinus infection. It honestly was the worst I have felt in nearly 2 years, but the good news is I am fully recovered. I was supposed to do the Rangers-Islanders game last week for THPN on their YouTube channel, but unfortunately I couldn't do that. I was going to have a new episode out last week, couldn't do that. So this is my sort of makeup gift to you as, well, I'm back. It feels good to be back. And again, I do apologize for the lack of content over the past couple of weeks. But with that being said, the NHL Trade Deadline has come and gone. I've got some very special guests with me to talk about that. And we will also get into a very important question involving the New York Rangers and whether or not their season is over. But we'll get to that later. But for right now, we're going to bring in our very special guest to talk about the NHL Trade Deadline because quite a bit has happened. These ladies are fresh off an appearance on the Devil's State of Mind podcast with our very good friend Neil Villapiano, who hosts that show. Go subscribe if you're a Devils fan, or if you're just a hockey fan in general, go subscribe to Devil's State of Mind. But these ladies, not only do they have a fantastic podcast name called Brunettes Who Bitch, which you can find on YouTube and all audio platforms, these ladies certainly do know their sports, and when it comes to hot takes, yeah, I think they bring better hot takes than I do in my own show sometimes. But we'll definitely get into that as the show progresses. But let's bring them in. I've got 2 of the 4 ladies from Brunettes Who Bitch, a brand new hockey podcast and sports podcast in general. Again, YouTube, Spotify, all audio platforms. I've got Katie and Ashely with me. Ladies, it is a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the show and welcome to the podcast world. How is everything?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Are you actually okay though? Because I mean, you were kind of upset on the 7th.
All things considered, I'm doing good, but I appreciate your concern, Ashely. Thank you. But
you shouldn't be okay. You guys got killed yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that as the show progresses. Don't worry about that if you want to stay tuned for that. But for right now, let's talk about the trade deadline, shall we? Because I happen to have a recap in front of me, and a lot definitely has happened over the last few days or so. But the main trades that I do want to talk about are the Mikko Rantanen situation and what happened with Brad Marchand. Now, as far as Mikko Rantanen is concerned, I guess Carolina was on his places not to be traded to initially because my man got traded there, not even 3 months ago, and now all of a sudden he gets traded again to the Dallas Stars. In case you're wondering about the full trade, I'm going to pull it up right here if my phone will let me. The Dallas Stars acquired Mikko Rantanen for Logan Stankoven, a conditional 2026 first-round pick, a conditional 2028 first-round pick, a 2026 third-round pick, and a 2027 third-round pick. And oh, by the way, both first-round picks are top 10 protected. So that's a pretty good haul if you're Carolina. But I'm more fascinated by the Mikko Rantanen side of things because I, for one, was very confused. And Katie, I'll throw it to you first here when I say, how did we even get here? Because, again, he gets traded to Carolina 3 months ago almost, and now all of a sudden He's not happy there, and now he seems to be thriving in Dallas, a place, I guess, where he was going to be more comfortable. What happened in Carolina that he said, I'm not going to play here anymore?
See, personally, I feel like it might be kind of like a locker room organization culture that he wasn't very fond of, because from what I've seen, he straight up said to them, like, I have no desire to play for you guys, trade me. And I mean, props to him. I probably would have done the same thing. But that's also just the Carolina hater in me, so.
Wait. You say Carolina hater. Who's your team? Who do you like?
Oh, I'm a Devils fan.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked that. I should have asked that off the air, but no. In all seriousness, I do get it. Hey, I'm a Carolina. I don't hate the Hurricanes. I don't like them, but I don't hate them as much as I hate the Flyers.
That's honestly valid.
Fair.
And it's so funny to me because, like, obviously there's a whole like rivalry between the Devils and the Rangers, but if I were asked like straight on the spot, what team out of the entire league do you hate the most? It would be the Canes. Straight up. Immediately.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would that be considering your playoff history against them? Is that part of the reason why?
It's not necessarily like, yes, they're a tough team, but it's also kind of like the fan base kind of ties into it. I just see a lot of things that they tend to be very insensitive online and post some very like, you see stuff that they post and you're like, wow, like that's awful.
Oof. I see.
And, like,
yeah.
I know it's not the whole fan base, but like,
right.
it's, a drop in the bucket still.
The stuff that they're posting online, and you can truly like search up. When they play the Rangers, they post some really terrible things. When they play the Devils, they post some really terrible things. And, it comes down to, it's just really insensitive. And a lot of people were injured in things that they're now making fun of. And as someone who is a New Yorker who had family in situations that they are making fun of,
okay,
doesn't sit right.
I mean, no, listen, I mean, that could also probably explain, I'm not saying it's the majority of the reason why Rantanen didn't want to stay there, but, from what you were telling me, now I kind of understand. Again, I know it's not all Hurricanes fans. It definitely is nobody over at the Surge Cast or the Caniac sections, because they're really nice people. I've worked with them before. Really nice people over there. They know their Carolina Hurricanes hockey. So it's certainly not them. But I'm curious to know their feelings about that. I'll have to have them on the show to maybe talk about that further another time. But Ashely, where are you on this Mikko Rantanen thing? Like, do you think it's a case of, a combination of the locker room, the fans, and I guess maybe the team chemistry in a way? Like, where do you stand on this?
I don't. Clearly, I'm a Canes hater too. So,
Wait, hold, actually, before you continue, I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. Who do you like? Who's your team?
I'm a Devils fan.
Oh, come on. You mean to tell me I let two Devil fans? No, I'm kidding. I let Neil on my show.
Devils fans take over here.
Hey, listen, I let Neil on my show all the time, so it's all good. But anyway, please continue. I apologize.
So I don't know if you saw related but not related. I don't know if you saw, but Puck Report tweeted, and I've shared this with everyone since I've seen it. Canes forward Jack Roslovic actually switched back to 96.
Yeah, because Rantanen was wearing it.
Right, which he vacated for Rantanen in exchange for a Rolex. And he only switched for 14 games.
Yes.
So he won the trade deadline as far as I'm concerned. But as for Rantanen, I don't know. I wouldn't want to play in Carolina. Do I think the Stars was where he should be? We'll see. I guess he does seem happier, so good for him. I just don't know if they really needed him.
I see. I do see what you're saying there, because Dallas is pretty much a complete team anyway. So, I mean, I already thought they were all set to make a deep run and possibly get to the Stanley Cup final this year. So, let me ask you this. If you were to do it all over again, had Mikko Rantanen not been traded to Carolina at all, if we were to start all over, where would you put him?
In the Devils, because we need depth.
Of course you would say that. No.
Next question.
No, in all seriousness, no. I mean, the Devils have been struggling lately, too. I get it. They don't have any depth at all. They've been lacking in the scoring department. Their defense has been questionable. Their goaltending has been fine, I thought, but the team's not helping them out. But, Katie,
Yeah.
where do you stand on this?
Ooh. See, I don't want to, like, give Florida anything else, but I feel like he would have fit there. Like,
What's that?
I feel like he would have fit so well in Florida because, just based off of vibes alone, he gives off, like, either Tampa or Florida Panthers.
Well, not only that,
Really well.
not only that, he's a 90-plus point guy in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
True.
To give him up right now just feels dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look. Obviously, we know it's a business. We get that side of it. But if you're Colorado, why in the world would you give up a 90-plus point scorer who, by the way, helped you win a Stanley Cup in 2022, if I'm not mistaken? And look, for Colorado, I mean, on a more, not to deter the subject here for a second here, but I have been seeing updates on Gabe Landeskog. Obviously, we haven't seen him play in almost 3 years. So I guess that has a factor in it too. We wish him nothing but the best. But Mikko Rantanen has been one of the main guys that has stepped up in Landeskog's absence. So you take that into consideration. You trade him away. So if you're Colorado, yes, Colorado, are they still a playoff team? Yes, no question about it. They're going to make the playoffs. But Mikko Rantanen, I mean, he was your guy. And now you trade him in a situation where he doesn't want to be. And now he gets traded again to somewhere where obviously he's going to be a lot more comfortable and he might have a chance to win another ring. But with that being said, let's continue here because we had another major trade happen. And this is the one that's, talk about scratching your head. I think this is a major understatement as, Brad Marchand. You know, when I first heard that he was in trade talks, I said, wait a minute, Brad Marchand, he's been at Bruin for 16 years, he's Stanley Cup champion. And sure enough, 2 hours after I said that, the Florida Panthers acquired Brad Marchand for what? A conditional 2027 second round pick. Now, in case you don't know the implications of this, the second round pick becomes a 2027 or 2028 first round pick if Florida wins 2 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So in other words, if they make the Eastern Conference Finals again, and if Brad Marchand plays 50% of the team's playoff games, Boston will retain 50% of Brad Marchand's salary. In what world does this make sense? I mean, forget the fact that Boston got fleeced because a conditional draft pick, look, that in and of alone is egregious, but you gave up a 16-year veteran who won you a cup in 2011 and has been the heart and soul of your team. In what world, Katie, help me, in what world does this make sense? The Bruins season has been an absolute roller coaster. I completely understand that, but you don't want to give Brad Marchand at least one more kick at the can next season? I mean, granted, he's probably close to retirement anyway, but you're basically giving Florida everything they need to try and repeat as Stanley Cup champions. Stop giving them players. This trade makes no sense.
It literally doesn't. And I feel like I don't want to say I'm like one of the like better people to ask about this because I live in a family of Bruins fans. Like I am the only Devils fan and everyone else is a Bruins fan. And so I had to break the news to my parents on Friday. I was like, yeah, they just traded Marchand to Florida. And they were like, what? You're kidding. And I was like, I'm literally not. Like, this is coming from a credible source. Like, this is real.
How did that happen? You're the only Devils fan in a Bruins family? How did that happen?
That's a question that I get asked a lot, and I literally have no idea. I want to say it happened around the time when, like, Zaka and Hala got, like, traded, because, like, that was when I kind of, like, first started paying attention to them, and I was like, oh, like, these guys are, like, kind of underdogs, and I feel like an attachment to them. I don't know. And then it just kind of like spiraled from there.
It almost feels like Boston was like, fuck you to him. Because of the whole not being able to negotiate a contract.
Well, yeah, because didn't they initially offer him like a 2-year extension?
I think it was 2 or 3 years, something like that.
He was here, they were there, and they could not meet in the middle.
But what? I guess he wanted more, and they were basically like, screw you, we're trading you, or?
I don't know all of the money and logistics of it, but I know that they were in negotiations, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like, nope, that's not working, so we're trading him.
Wow, I mean, I'm still scratching my head about this. This is the one trade out of every single trade that's happened. Look, I know you had Dylan Cousins going to Ottawa for Josh Norris. You had that big trade. That's obviously big implications for Ottawa, considering the fact that they're in a wild card spot right now. So Ottawa got better. In a way, the Jets got better. They got Luke Shen, who's a quality defenseman. You got that. They also got Brandon Tanev. Scott Lofton going to Toronto, although I don't trust Toronto anyway, but that's beside the point. Chicago made some noise when they acquired Spencer Knight. So they upgraded in goal. I mean, Peter Mrazek, Spencer Knight's better than what they have currently right now, but I digress there. Cody Glass is a Devil, and hey, he made a good impact on the Devils. He outbeat the Flyers, but I digress there. But the bottom line is, out of all the trades that happened here, this is the one, meaning Brad Marchand, this is the one that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't see the mindset behind it. And if I'm Bruins management, I'm saying, what the hell did we just do? A conditional pick? Now, if it was for maybe a couple of first rounders, a player to be named later, and say for argument's sake, cash considerations, okay, maybe I would understand that. But a conditional pick? Really? That's what you think he's worth? Okay, I'll play along.
Honestly, if I was him, that would feel like such like a slap in the face.
Yeah. Honestly, it is a slap in the face. Your worth, according to the Bruins management, your worth is a conditional 2027 draft pick. Not a first rounder, not a second rounder, a conditional pick. Really? Mm-hmm. Really? I just don't get it. I don't understand. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. The whole thing is just mind-boggling. And quite frankly, Katie, it could have been handled better on both sides. It really could have.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I don't know. I know you said you don't know the money and logistics and everything. I understand that, hey, they came up to you and said, okay, we want to give you, say for argument's sake, if they would have said, we'll give you X amount of dollars over, I don't know, let's say 3 years. Let's say we'll give you $30 million over 3 years. Ashley, would you still trade him?
No, because
thank you.
So here's what it comes down to. Honestly, I feel for Boston fans right now. You guys have to be going through an identity crisis because you lost so many people.
So many.
And people that don't even make sense to trade away. I'm looking it up to see if I can find the numbers, but I just can't.
I mean, there's no need, in my opinion, because what is there to find out? I mean,
it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Look. Again, out of all the trades I saw, this is the one that does not make any sense.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out, and games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. NHL and NHL team marks are the property of the NHL and its teams. Copyright NHL 2025, all rights reserved.
But to sort of wrap up this discussion here, let's look at what the Rangers did, obviously, because this is a Rangers-centric show, and I definitely wanted to talk about what they did. So obviously, they acquired Carson Soucy from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for a 2025 third-round pick, which I thought, okay, it's not a terrible trade. You know, Carson Soucy is nothing special, but he's a bottom six defenseman who provides depth. He scored his first goal as a Ranger against Ottawa, in which they lost in overtime. Sad, they blew it once again, but that's beside the point. They also traded away Riley Smith back to Vegas for Brendan Brisson and a 2025 third-round pick. But at the trade deadline, they made a trade with the Buffalo Sabres in which they gave away their defensive prospect Eric Brandstrom in exchange for a right winger named Nicholas Obkubel. Sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly. But I looked up this kid's stats. I get it. He's still relatively young. He's in his late 20s. But he's only got 2 points the entire season. Really? This is the best you can do if you're Chris Drury? Unless he has some sort of resurgence. Because, look, let's face it. Buffalo's not going anywhere anyway. He probably wasn't going anywhere on that team anyway. So maybe this will be good for him. But Carson Soucy, I don't hate that move. He'll provide some depth on defense. I get that. But maybe it's a good thing for the Rangers that they didn't go after guys like Brad Marchand and Mikko Rantanen and those guys, because really, what good is it going to do you long term? You know, they could end up phasing out, like Kreider's phasing out apparently. Zibanejad, while he has playing a lot better in the latter half of the year, he phased out a majority of the year. That's kind of my worry. So in a way, I'm not mad at this, but at the same time, Ashley, I'm going to come to you on this. I really wish that the Rangers would have done more, but considering the season that they've had, I can't say that I blame Chris Drury, because he basically said, you know what? The season's probably going to be a wash anyway, even though there's still a month to go. But he basically said, we don't think there's any need to do much anyway, even though, me personally, I would have liked to see more, especially on the defensive side of it. Well, actually, I shouldn't say defensively, because they have been playing a lot better than I've seen. But with that being said, offensively, when it comes to quality shooters, I would have liked to see more from that aspect. What do you say, Ash?
I can actually talk about the Rangers all day long because I'm.
Oh boy! All right, here we go. That's what I want to hear.
Well, I mean, start with who? Oh, Riley Smith. Riley Smith was in New York for all of 5 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about that. You guys don't play bad, but you're playing flat. And I feel like Drury just got trade happy because half of the trades made no sense. They were all just meh trades.
Meh? That's a good way to describe it.
I don't know how else to describe it, because that's what it JT Miller was a great acquisition.
Oh, 100%. And look, I'm going to eat my crow on that, because I was hesitant on bringing him back, but I was wrong. He has been a terrific asset to bring back. I love the JT Miller trade, but anyway, please continue.
Right. So, you have JT Miller, who is actually beneficial to the team, and that one made sense.
Yeah.
I have such a soft spot for VC, so I was really sad to see him go.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know, they really just felt like meh trades. you guys could have went for someone who can score or more defense because you guys don't play it properly.
No,
And
they
then
don't.
you guys either get like a shutout or you give up 7 goals and there's no in between.
Yeah, literally back-to-back shutouts, and then you proceed to play flat again. Like, make it make sense to me. Like, what happened?
Exactly. You just had 2 amazing games where you got shutouts, and now you're like, yep, we forgot how to play hockey.
Yeah, pretty much. And look, I mean, trading away Lindgren, I mean, I saw it coming, but at the same time, I was sad to see him go too. I know he was a fan favorite for many years, so it is sad to see him and Fanizzi go, but Fanizzi wasn't getting enough ice time, and Lindgren, let's face it, while he is a warrior. There's no question about that. But he gets hurt a bit too much. So, in a way, I kind of saw it coming, but look, it is what it is, but I don't know. I would have liked to see more from the Rangers at the trade deadline.
I cannot stand Kreider, so I would have been very happy to see you guys trade him away. Very happy person.
Why does that not surprise me?
You know, like, he doesn't even do anything to annoy me. It's just his face. I don't like
Oh my goodness.
See, she always says that he has such a punchable face, and I always say that he looks like that one burrito from the Sausage Party movie.
He does.
Like, their resemblance is uncanny. I'm like,
You know,
Oh
what
my
did they
God.
cast him in that movie?
sometimes you just meet someone and, like, they look like somebody that needs to be punched. That's just Kreider to me.
I mean, to be fair, as somebody who's been watching this team for 12 years, going on 13, I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at the fact that you said that because you do have a point. But no, listen. When it comes to the Rangers, and I'm going to get into more on whether or not their season is over in a little while, but Katie, where are you on this team? Because again, I would have liked to see more from them, but with the way their season's going, I also can't say I'm surprised either.
I do kind of have to agree with both you and Ashley about how, like, the trades I feel like could have been a bit more impactful, and I think if they had been, it would have, like, really affected the remainder of the season. But now it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, I have no idea how the rest of the season is going to go. So
I mean,
that's all I have to really say on that.
I sort of do, but I'll talk about it in a little while. But I have a feeling I know where it's gonna go, considering the way it's gone all year, and the fact that you didn't even do much to address your improvements in 5-on-5, which has been a major struggle all year. Your struggles at the blue line have been abysmal. Your power play is anemic, so you could have addressed those issues, but nope. Look, did you get better defensively on depth? Yes, I will give you that. But you still need something to help out your goalie, which is, I don't know, scoring. So why couldn't you address that? It made no sense to me. But
You guys are wasting Shesterkin. Just like you guys wasted the other one.
Yep. No.
Lundqvist, since you're looking.
You are... Ashley, you are 1,000% correct. Even though Henrik Lundqvist, on his own, led them to the Stanley Cup final in 2014, they wasted his entire career because he had no help. And now they're doing the same thing with Igor. Igor just got paid $11.5 million over 8 years. Granted, it's not all of his fault, but look, can he play better? Yes, he can play better. There's no question about that. Jonathan Quick can play better as well. I'm not absolving them of any blame whatsoever. But people forget it's a team effort. And the guy in the net needs help. And right now, they're not giving him any help. They are leaving him out to dry every single night, and it's not fair. If they keep this up, I wouldn't blame Igor if he decided to walk away, personally.
I truly thought he was walking away last season. I did not think you guys were re-signing him.
I mean, granted, I wouldn't have given him 8 years, $11.5 million. Me personally, I would have signed him to a shorter term deal and used the rest of that money to, I don't know, bolster the team. But what do I know? I'm not a GM. I'm just a fan. So where do I stand on this? But anyway, look, if you're going to ask me what grade I'd give the Rangers for the trade deadline, well, this whole trade deadline in general was nuts. I would probably give it a solid B plus if you're having me grade the trade deadline overall. I'd give it a solid B plus considering the chaos that we ensued. But as far as the Rangers themselves are concerned, I'd give it a solid C minus. I don't know. Again, defense, great. You upgraded slightly on depth, but again, didn't really move the needle. So I'd say a C minus. What about you,
That's fair.
Katie?
Are we just talking like the Rangers or just like all
Both.
like
Both.
Okay,
Both.
so I would probably have to agree with you with the Rangers. I was literally thinking exactly C minus or C plus, somewhere in the middle there, probably just
Okay.
C. But overall, like this felt like a very underwhelming but chaotic trade deadline. Like everyone was so extremely worried, and then like all of the moves that got made, you were like, what? Like what?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would probably. Oh, I don't want to like be like, oh yeah, like a league as the whole would be like a D plus, but like it just
God.
felt very underwhelming to me personally. But
Okay. Okay.
that like, somebody could have like a completely different opinion. So like, take that with a grain of salt.
Fair enough to me. What about you, Ash?
So I'm gonna agree with you only in one aspect, because apparently this year is just an underwhelming year because it's going to be an underwhelming draft too.
That's a fair point.
I was gonna say I feel like
So,
we haven't
there's just
heard anything.
A trend
No,
going.
we haven't.
This
haven't.
time last year, we were hearing about Macklin Celebrini. Like,
Yes.
No.
Exactly.
It's truly like reported and rumored to be a very underwhelming trade. So draft.
Yeah.
So we have a trend this year, I guess. And it's
they said, let's
underwhelming.
keep it.
The Devils get an F because they did nothing.
I was so worried the entire day, and then after 5 p.m., like when all like the calls had been made, I was like, what? We didn't
Really,
do
like,
anything.
They didn't
could've
do
done
anything at
something.
all.
Better than this.
Like, I was emotionally preparing myself to lose my favorite fourth liner, and then I didn't. And I was like, all that for nothing. Like, it's a blessing and a curse. Like, I hated it and I loved it at the same time because I didn't have to say goodbye to anybody, but we also didn't get anybody that was going to help us.
Yeah.
I'll give the Rangers the meh a C, I guess. And you're getting a C, not a D, because JT Miller. He's the
Okay.
only reason.
All right. Now that's fair. Because again, I do really like that they got JT Miller back. I really do, now that I'm starting to see his level of production since he came back. But again, him alone is not going to help you try and make a playoff run. You needed to do more, and you lacked in that department. So that's a fair analysis, Ash, but I still stand by what I said. Rangers, C minus. Overall, though, I'd give a solid B plus. Now, before I let you ladies go, I gotta ask this question about the New York Rangers season. And I want to hear from you guys on social media as well, at BlueSeats94, and you can tell me on Twitter and Instagram as well. Is the New York Rangers season over? Now, I know this might be a bold question to bring up, but we do have about a little over a month to go at the time of this recording in the regular season. And as we stand right now, coming off well, let's face it, a really terrible loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets at home 7-3, which is inexcusable. But as we stand right now at the time of this recording, the Rangers are 1 point behind the Ottawa Senators for that second wildcard spot and 2 points behind the aforementioned Columbus Blue Jackets. They're currently 5th in the Metropolitan Division, 2 games behind Columbus for 4th place. Devils sit in 3rd, Carolina in 2nd, and obviously the surprising Capitals in 1st with 92 points. Now, you look at the rest of their schedule here, and let's face it, with the way their season is going, anything's freaking possible with this team. But I do want to bring up the remainder of their schedule here. So, starting tomorrow, March 11th, they go into Winnipeg to play the Jets. You could probably chalk that up as a loss right there. The Jets are the best team in the NHL for a reason. Then you go into Minnesota to take on the Wild. And then you're in Columbus to take on the same team you played this past Sunday, in which you got demolished. And then you're back home against the Edmonton Oilers. So another back-to-back that weekend. They've had a lot of back-to-backs this month. Are you seeing a theme here? So this is the busiest month the Rangers have had, considering that they didn't really have anything going on in February because of the Four Nations tournament. But you have Winnipeg, Minnesota, Columbus, Edmonton, then Calgary, Toronto, Vancouver, and then you got a few days off, and then on March 25th, you're in LA to take on the Kings, and then you're in Anaheim and San Jose back-to-back. But then you go to April, you got Minnesota at home, New Jersey in New Jersey, Tampa Bay at home, Philadelphia at home, the Islanders on Long Island, Carolina in Carolina, Florida in Florida, and Tampa Bay at home. This is not going to be an easy rest of the season for the Rangers. And the way they've been playing, I'm the guy that said they can go to the Stanley Cup final and win it. I was wrong about this team this year. I will fully admit it right now. I was wrong. I apologize. And if I had to go back and do it over again, I wouldn't set my expectations so high over one good year last year under Peter Laviolette, in which they made the conference finals. But with that being said, is the New York Rangers season over? Unfortunately, my answer is yes. And let me tell you why. The play of this team has been so inconsistent all year, it's a joke. The way they play 5-on-5 is the worst I've seen it. Their power play has been the worst I've seen it. Their penalty kill has been their biggest strong suit for many years. I have no complaints about their penalty kill. Their penalty kill is the best aspect of their entire game all season. And the fact that they scored 2 shorthanded goals against Columbus just proves that their penalty kill continues to be a strong suit. So we have nothing to complain about there. Goaltending, look, again, I'm not going to place all the blame on Igor and Quick. I'm not. Now, again, can they play better? Yes, they can. And they should play better. But again, it's a team sport. You got to give the guys some help, and you haven't been providing them the help. You haven't been able to score. You haven't been able to set up cleanly on the power play. You're giving the opposition way too much time in the neutral zone and in your own end of the ice. Oh, and should I mention the too many men on the ice penalties? That is abysmal. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Rangers and the Florida Panthers lead the league in too many men on the ice penalties. And Florida just won the Stanley Cup. The difference between the two teams, Florida is bolstered with talent, and they are much better than the Rangers. And you know what? They might repeat. This iteration of the Rangers is atrocious. I in almost 13 years watching this team, and in my second year covering this team on this show, I have never seen a more abysmal team than this one. I know there have been plenty of bad teams, but in my lifetime, this is the worst. This is the worst I have seen this Rangers team ever, period. For me personally, I'm still a young buck. I'm 30, so I know a bunch of you old school Ranger fans are going to say, oh, go back to probably one of the 70s teams or 80s teams. Look, I get that. I'm saying in my lifetime, I've never seen a Ranger team this inconsistent and this bad and this poorly coached. I've been a Peter Laviolette defender. I was thrilled when they hired him last year. He led them to a President's Trophy. He got them the conference final. I said, hey, this could work out long term. What happened? The defensive scheme does not work. His offensive scheme doesn't work. Phil Housley, he needs his ass fired. Okay? Somebody needs to explain to me, yes, their defense has played better. But I'm saying as a whole, how does your defense get worse under Phil Housley? Somebody needs to explain it to me. Somebody needs to explain it. It makes no sense. And some of the lines, the line combinations that Peter Laviolette throws out there have been terrible. Why is Jimmy Vesey getting first-line minutes? Granted, he's not on the team anymore, but why is he getting first-line minutes? For what? For what? Will Cooley needs first-line minutes. Will Cooley has been one of the best players on this team the entire season. What happened with Mika Zibanejad? What happened with Chris Kreider? Panarin's playing better, but what happened to him? What happened to this team? Adam Fox is hurt. Lindgren's gone. Keandre Miller should have been traded months ago, before the trade deadline.
Real.
Look, I love this team. I will love them till I am blue in the face and dead. Always. But this year has been so frustrating and so inconsistent. It's a joke. So, is the season over? I really hate to say it, but with the way they've been playing all year, my trust level has fallen. So my answer is yes. The season is over. Katie, I'll throw it to you. Is the season over? Or actually, no, I'm sorry. Ashley, I'm going to throw it to you first. You'd like to talk about the Rangers. I apologize, Katie. I'll get to you in a second. Ashley, is the season over for the New York Rangers?
I'm going to be optimistic and tell you no, but also it depends. It depends on two things. If you guys play in 4-point games the way you played against Columbus, yes. If you guys can find your chemistry that you guys had when you went on that little heater, I think you guys sneak into the wild card. Like, I fully have some type of belief in that because I would love to see the Rangers not make anything. However, that never happens for me.
No, you two, that'd be nice. But anyway, please continue.
No, so I truly think if you guys find the chemistry you had when you guys were on your heater, and you guys have chemistry, you should have chemistry. You have people like Kreider and Zibanejad, and even Panarin. Like, they should be these great players.
They haven't.
All of their veteran stuff, and they haven't been. But if they get back to where they were, I think you guys sneak in somehow.
Well, they got a month left to figure it out, so hopefully I'm proven wrong and they make the playoffs. But at this rate, I don't see it. I really don't see it.
Which is fair. Everything's just really, it's truly like too close to call something dead or good because like it is such a close race. Everything is very close.
True.
Even us, like the Devils are, I think, 4 points or 6 points. I think, are we 4 or 6 from Columbus?
Let's see.
4.
4.
Oh, 4. Okay, thank you.
Columbus's win
And we
last
play
night.
them tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Like, everything is just very, very, very close. The entire playoff race for us is close. So, I don't want to tell you that you guys are dead, because you're a point behind the wild card. You have a shot to sneak in there.
I don't know, man. I mean, look, I could be proven wrong and they could go on another heater and they could make the playoffs. And I would be thrilled about it. But even if they do, they're just going to get knocked out of the first round. I mean, do you really trust this team that much? I don't. Katie, what about you? Is the season over?
I'm gonna say don't count yourself out of a wild card spot. I wouldn't say like top 3 because that's kind of a big stretch, but like with how close the wild card spots are, it's like almost too hard to say. But I would definitely I see the Rangers making a wild card.
Look, I really hope you're right, but again, I just don't see it. They're just too inconsistent of a team that I just don't trust them. I don't. That's just me. Maybe I'm becoming the old guy on the lawn, but look, maybe they'll prove me wrong. And if they do, I'll be very happy if they make the playoffs. But again, even if they do, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. So I'd rather miss the playoffs than make it and get bounced out of the first round and end the season in even more aggravation than it's already been. That's just me. But
That's
again,
fair.
what do I know? Again, if they prove me wrong, I will come on these airwaves and publicly apologize to the 24-25 New York Rangers. If they somehow, again, I'm not saying this is going to happen now, so I'm not making the same mistake again. But if they somehow make the conference finals again, I will publicly apologize. But it's not happening. I don't see this team making the playoffs because they're too inconsistent. They're too inconsistent. I'm sorry. That's just me. You can let me know if I'm wrong, if you think I'm crazy, or if you're with me on X and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats. Do you think the Rangers season is over, or are you still optimistic that they can make the playoffs? And I want to hear from you about the trade deadline as well. What was the craziest trade that you saw in the trade deadline? But before I let you ladies go, tell the people how they can find your show and where they can find you on social media.
Go for it, Kate.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Okay.
you want me to do it?
Yeah, you're better at that than I am.
We are, I don't know what we are. We're Brunettes Who Bitch on
Instagram and TikTok.
Instagram and TikTok. We're Brunettes Pod on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And then we are Brunettes Who Bitch on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.
And I also need to ask, how the hell did you come up with that name?
That would be
How did
me.
you- Oh, that was you, Katie?
Yeah.
How did that happen? I'm curious.
So it actually originated from a group chat that we had created together, and because we love to talk and we love to gossip, and I didn't want it to just be like some bland group chat name, and I was like, well, we're all brunettes. This will fit.
Okay. Now it's starting to click. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. But please go subscribe to these ladies. They're a brand new show. Again, Brunettes Who Bitch on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. I'll leave links down below in the description section. If you didn't see their appearance on Devil's State of Mind, go check that out as well. But ladies, this was an absolute pleasure. It was lovely to meet you. Let's do it all again real soon. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Anytime. Hopefully we can get the rest of the ladies on real soon. But you got Ashely and Katie from Brunettes Who Bitch. Go subscribe to them on YouTube and all audio platforms. But that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this content, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified of all episodes that are posted. And also subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. Also follow us on X and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use hashtag BlueSeats. And let us know if you think the Ranger season is over or if you're still optimistic and what you thought about the NHL trade deadline. And one reminder, we are sponsored by DraftKings. Use code THPN at sign up. New customers spend $5. Get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings. Must be 21 or older in select states, and please play responsibly. Alongside Katie and Ashely, my name is Jimmy. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts. Hopefully it's more optimistic with a month to go. And we'll catch you next time.